Hey guys, in this episode, I'd like to do a high level 30,000 foot overview to answer the question, what do men want? That's a really deep question, and we could talk a lot about it. And doubtless in this series, I'm going to revisit the question over and over again and flesh out some of the things that I'm going to talk about today very briefly. But I'd like to give kind of an overview of it and begin to express my thoughts out loud and start the conversation with you about what some of those aspects are. As always, I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your comments. Good questions help me to clarify my own thought and to provide good content, that's meaningful to you and genuinely helpful, and that's what I'm ultimately about here. So, I think there are several things that men really want. And first up, I think men want a life of meaning and great purpose. For too long, really substantive things have been removed from our lives or simply not valued or simply not pursued. For a lot of men, we've just sort of gotten by with technical jobs, technical training. We've not really pursued lives of great meaning, great art, great poetry, great literature, great causes have not been available to us. Great adventure we've not always found. And so it's just not there. And for those of you who have, lived lives of broad experience, I hope you've come to realize that a meaningful life is not found between a woman's legs, at the end of a joint, or at the bottom of a bottle, okay? Or in the latest video game, for that matter. A really meaningful life is not found in any of those places. But in point of fact, as I said in the last episode of this series, there is, I believe, hardwired in every man, in every person on earth for that matter, a yearning, a longing for some transcendent cause or purpose. Christians call that God. I don't care if you call it the universe or whatever you want to call it, but there needs to be something. And I think all of us experience this longing for something that's bigger than ourselves. And that ultimately gives meaning and purpose to our lives. And so we need to look for something bigger than ourselves if we're going to have lives of meaning, and even more proximally, even a little closer than God or transcendence or salvation or whatever may be out there in the beyond. Real meaning in life comes from adding value to others. It does not come from a life of self-indulgence or just pleasing myself day to day. It actually comes from living lives of service that give value to other people, that is engaged in creativity, in solving problems. It comes from active engagement with the world out there, where we provide value, where we enter in fully ourselves and make our contribution to it. That's where real meaning is found. So a life of meaning and to have great purpose, I think, is one thing that all men really want. Secondly, I think what all men really want is a relationship with a woman and good sex. As kind of fundamental, I've not found many men who didn't want that. And the ones that have said that they don't have simply become embittered because they've been pursuing it for so long and have not been successful. So even then, men who say they don't want it very often really do, but they've just been hurt too badly in the process and are not willing to carry it further, okay? But for a good relationship with a woman that's very fulfilling in every way, how many are really ready for it? Okay? Meaning, what do you bring to the table if you want a relationship with a woman of value? What about you is attractive to a woman? You see, we can want whatever we want, but at the end of the day, we have to be able to offer ourselves to someone else, and what we offer to somebody else, to a woman, has got to be of value, something she finds attractive, or she's not going to be interested in us. That sort of stands to reason, but we don't always think about that. Okay? What do women want in a man? It's more than good looks. It really is. I know that's hard for some guys to get their heads around because we value female beauty as highly as we do, but for women it seems not to be the most important thing, or it's a little lower in the scale of values, okay? But the ability to procreate, to protect, to provide, and even though some women won't admit it, even for men to preside and to offer leadership and guidance in a relationship, okay? One of the fundamental differences between a boy and a man is that a boy consumes more than he provides, whereas a man provides more than he consumes. That is, he can provide for his own needs, for sure, so he's not dependent on anybody else, but he has to be able to provide more than what he himself needs, so he has more to offer to a woman as a wife, to a family if he has children. So men need to be able to produce a great deal more than they consume so that they can take care of the people that are in their charge. Okay? So, are you able to provide? First, are you able to provide for yourself? And beyond that, are you able to provide for somebody else? I know sometimes it's difficult, and especially for younger men. Maybe you've got a great career, maybe you've got a great job, great education, sweet marketable skills, but maybe you have college debt. Maybe you're stuck in an entry-level position that doesn't pay very well. So maybe you're not really optimally in a position yet to invite someone else into your life. You might have great potential. God bless you. I hope that you all do. But being able to provide in that respect is actually important to a woman. Okay. Can you protect a woman? Could you protect somebody? If you're not even able to stand up for your own principles and for your own values, how is anybody else going to be able to rely on you for any kind of protection? All right? If you can't maintain healthy boundaries for yourself, if you let other people walk all over you, if you let other people ridicule you, your faith, your belief, your political affiliation, whatever that may happen to be, that's not to say you have to be pugnacious and fight them, but at least be able, calmly to defend them and say, thank you, I don't care to discuss that. That's inappropriate for you to bring that up in conversation. My heart is not at peace with the way that you're speaking about that. If you can't even have simple boundaries about that, how is a woman or anyone else going to trust you, particularly with their hearts, if you're unwilling or incapable of defending your own? Okay? So, if you're not leading your own life with discipline and with honor, how is somebody else supposed to trust you to lead her life if you can't even lead your own? So, the bottom line is, the only variable that you can control in a relationship really is yourself. And so, you need to be the best man that you can possibly be so that you are the best man that you can bring to a relationship. And that's what will make you attractive, to somebody else. Okay? There's a lot more that goes into it for sure, but there's some things to think about. So, am I the kind of man that a woman would find attractive? And if not, where am I falling short? And what do I need to do in order to bring my life up to snuff? Okay? So, we've talked about a life of meaning and to have great purpose, a relationship with a woman. I think men also look for a solid community with other men. And in this, Jack Donovan has a lot of really good stuff to say. And he's right. Men work well and are fulfilled when we are in a tribe of other men. If you've got men in your life who can affirm your value, who know you well enough to say, yeah, that's a really good guy, or you can trust him with this, or he will always have your back, or he provides some real value, whatever it may be. Other men, who can speak truth into your life when you're mucking things up, to have another man or other men in your life who can say, hey, time out, bro, you're really messing up now. You need to stop and look at what you're doing. I care too much about you to let you see you screw everything up the way if you keep going the way you're going, you're going to screw things up, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to hurt other people. You need to stop. And I'm seeing this, and so are these other guys, and, we care about you enough to call you out on this. Man, if you've got other men in your life who are willing to do that for you, you are blessed. So not a lot of guys have that, okay? You need to have in your life other men who want to see you win in life, okay? And who are willing to offer you their support because they see in you value, that they're willing to spend time with you, to give effort to you, to show you advice, to give you a leg up, to offer you an advantage here or there somewhere because they believe in you. It's a really great thing. And men who have your back, if you ever need someone to have your back, okay? That kind of community with other men is a great blessing. And too many men don't have other men in their life who are like that. So I think that's something that men look forward to. In addition to those things, responsibility. Men love responsibility, at least adult, mature men like responsibility, because it means that they are in a position to give their gifts, to give their talents, to add value to the world, to lift up and to give meaning to other people. If you're still young or if you haven't figured it out yet, the greatest satisfaction in life comes from adding value to other people, from taking care of their problems, to helping them overcome their pain, to helping them become the best people they can be. There's immense satisfaction in that. And this goes back to something fundamental to my view, of masculinity, that in the first place, for all men, our masculinity is a gift from God to us, for which we ought to be grateful. But our masculinity is not given to us for ourselves, for our own self-aggrandizement or for our own pleasure. It's given to us so that having received it in gratitude, we in turn give our masculine gifts, our characteristics, our talents out to other people in order to make their lives better. That's where real and genuine meaning and satisfaction in life comes from, okay? But for men to have responsibility, to be trusted with worthwhile, meaningful tasks, to have worthwhile, meaningful work that actually has impact on other people's lives, that does something positive or adds value or increases wealth or happiness or reduces other people's misery or pain. That's a beautiful thing. For other people to know that you are up to the challenges that face you, that you can deal with this, that you got this, whatever this may happen to be. And they don't have to micromanage you or look over your shoulder or worry about the results. If you say you've got it, period. And having that kind of responsibility and being competent in that way is a beautiful thing. And a lot of men that I know that have talked about it have talked about it with great satisfaction in their lives. So I think a lot of men look for genuine responsibility, not only for other men, but for their women and, for their jobs as well. So genuine responsibility, I think, is way up there. I think a lot of men just want to feel alive. Too often, sort of the day-to-day life is not really life-affirming, and a lot of stuff that we have to do is pretty damn dull and it doesn't give us a great thrill. That's not to say, that we have to feel alive every single minute, or that the only meaningful life is a constant adrenaline rush. That's not what I'm saying. No, but what I am saying is that those times when you've really pushed yourself to the edge, when you're at the limit of your endurance, when, if you're running a race and you're about out of breath and your legs are burning and you're not sure that you can carry any further, at that moment you just feel totally alive because you can overcome all of that and reach down deep inside and find just a little more strength and endurance to carry you on to the finish line. Any time when we can push ourselves and find our edge, men feel alive there. So opportunities for us to take a little bit of risk, to lean, like I often say, to lean into your fear, to push your edge just a little bit, whether you're doing it in relationships or at the gym, seeking that PR or getting one more rep, out of a set, or at work where you're really pushing your limits, and striving a little harder, getting a little more done, working for that breakthrough, whatever it may happen to be. I think men love that. I know the times in my life when I've been there have been some of the best times I've ever had, even if it's really scary, and sometimes it is, but we feel really alive in those moments, and I think a lot of men look for that, So I think those are, in brief, some of the things that men really want. a life of meaning and to have great purpose, a relationship with a woman and to have great sex, community with other men whom we can trust and who trust us, responsibility and meaningful work, and finally to feel alive. And I think if men have these things in their lives, they'd be really pretty happy. And even if it's not an everyday occurrence, if there's just enough of it to give a little spice to our lives, we can put up with a lot of dullness and grind if we have to. So long as we have these moments, so long as we have a good relationship with a woman, so long as we have other men in our life that have our backs, you can be pretty darn satisfied, with what you've got if you have those things. So let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comments below. If there's something really substantial that I've left out of the list, I'm always glad to hear about that. As I say, this is a very superficial overview. There's a lot more that could be said. And, let me know your thoughts, and maybe we can talk about those things in a future episode. So thanks much for your attention. I appreciate it.